שירו לאדוני כל הארץ, שירו לאדוני ברכו שמו, בסרו מיום ליום ישועתו. ספרו בגויים כבודו, לכל העמים נפלאותיו, כי גדול אדוני ומהולל מאוד, נורא הוא על כל אלוהים. שירו לאדוני שיר חדש, שירו לאדוני כל הארץ, שירו לאדוני ברכו שמו, בסרו מיום ליום ישועתו. ספרו בגויים כבודו, לכל העמים נפלאותיו, כי גדול אדוני ומהולל מאוד, נורא הוא על כל אלוהים. שירו לאדוני שיר חדש, שירו לאדוני כל הארץ, שירו לאדוני ברכו שמו, בסרו מיום ליום ישועתו. ספרו בגויים כבודו, לכל העמים נפלאותיו, כי גדול אדוני ומהולל מאוד, נורא הוא על כל אלוהים. שיר לאדוני, שיר לאדוני, שיר לאדוני. ספרו בגויים כבודו, לכל העמים נפלאותיו, כי גדול אדוני ומהולל מאוד, נורא הוא על כל אלוהים. שירו לאדוני שיר חדש, שירו לאדוני כל הארץ, שירו לאדוני ברכו שמו, בסרו מיום ליום ישועתו. שירו לאדוני שיר חדש, שירו לאדוני כל הארץ, שירו לאדוני ברכו שמו, בסרו מיום ליום ישועתו. שירו לאדוני שיר חדש, שירו לאדוני כל הארץ, שירו לאדוני ברכו שמו, בסרו מיום ליום ישועתו. ספרו בגויים כבודו, לכל העמים נפלאותיו, כי גדול אדוני ומהולל מאוד, נורא הוא על כל אלוהים. שירו לאדוני שיר חדש, שירו לאדוני, שיר חדש, שירו לאדוני, כל הארץ, שירו לאדוני,
Shabbat Shalom. On this Shabbat Beret sheet, we recount the creation of the world and the purpose of Shabbat within the cycle of creation. Rabbi Abraham Joshua Heschel taught, the meaning of Shabbat is to celebrate time rather than space. 6 days a week, we live under the tyranny of things, of space. On Shabbat, we try to become attuned to holiness in time. It is a day on which we are called upon to share in what is eternal in time, to turn from the results of creation to the mystery of creation, from the world of creation to the creation of the world. So tonight, as we welcome Shabbat, let us sanctify the time we have together. Let us raise our awareness of the blessings of those who sit around us and how they bring that to our lives. Let us raise our awareness of the holiness we have within. Let us lift up our voices in song and prayer. Let us lift up our hearts for wholeness and healing. In this way, we claim the sacred space of Shabbat. In this way, we create sacred community within. And so we begin on page 3 in our Sidurim, our prayer books, as we welcome up our bat mitzvah, Mia, and her mother, Jennifer Jarzewski, to kindle the Sabbath lights.
As these Shabbat candles give light to all who behold them, so may we by our lives give light to all who behold us. As their brightness reminds us of the generations of Israel who have kindled light, so may we in our own day be among those who kindle light.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lehadlik ner shel Shabbat.
Blessed are you, Adonai our God, sovereign of the universe, who hallows us with mitzvot commanding us to kindle the light of Shabbat.
We continue with the Kiddush on page 5. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei puri hagafen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav v'hatzavanu v'shabbat kodsho v'ahava ratzon hinhilanu zikaron lema'aseh b'reishit ki hu yom tehillah lemikrai kodesh zecher litiyat mitzrayim kivanu v'harta ve'otanu kidashta mikol olamim v'shabbat kodshecha ve'ahava v'razon hinhaltzanu Baruch atah Adonai Mekadesh HaShabbat.
Exactly. On page 13, we continue with song, welcoming Shabbat with the Psalms of Kabbalat Shabbat, Psalm 96, Shir Chadash.
Join us on page 22 with Tov Lehodot. It's about the third line down. Tov lehodot l'Adonai, u'azamer l'shimcha elyon. Tov lehodot l'Adonai, u'azamer l'shimcha elyon. Le'hagid baboker
2 pages to page 20 as we make ready to welcome the Sabbath bride, singing Lecha Dodi. We sing verses 1 and 2, 5 and 9. And when we reach verse 9, Bo'iva Shalom, we stand as a congregation and turn to face the entrance of our sanctuary to beckon, to welcome that Sabbath spirit that we feel when we sing together as one. And if you're with us on live stream, remember you too are part of making that sacred feeling felt in your own worship space, wherever that may be. You are connected to us, to Jews around the world, as we celebrate Shabbat together. Lecha Dodi, page 20. Turn to those around you, wish them a Shabbat Shalom. Let them know how glad you are they're here. We continue with page 26 with the Chatzi Kaddish as we remain standing through the Shema.
Yitkadol v'yitkadash Shemei Rabba, Amen. Ve'alma divrach eretev yamich machotev, v'chayechon u'vyomechon, uv'chayerecho beit Yisrael. Magalah, u'vizman kariv, b'meru, Amen. Yehi Shemei Rabba.
Page 28 for the Baruch Hu. It's my pleasure to call upon our bat mitzvah, Mia Bell Jaruzelski, to lead us in the next portion of our worship service.
Baruch Hu et Adonai HaMevorach. Baruch Adonai HaMevorach le'olam va'ed. We continue on page 30. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher bidvaro ma'ariv aravim. B'chokma poteach she'arim, uvit vuna meshane itim, umahalif et hazmanim, umsader et hakochavim, b'mishmerotechem barakia kirtsono, borei yom v'layla, golel or mipnei hoshech, v'hoshech mipnei or, uma'avir yom umevi layla, Umavdil bein yom uvein laila, Adonai Sevaot Shemo, El Hai v'Kayam, Tamid Yimloch Aleinu Leolam Va'ed, Baruch Atah Adonai, Hama'ariv Aravim. We continue in the middle of page 32. Everlasting love, you offered your people Israel, by teaching us Torah and mitzvot, laws and precepts. Therefore, Adonai our God, when we lie down and when we rise up, we will meditate on your laws and your commandments. We will rejoice in your Torah forever. Day and night we will reflect on them, for they are our life, and doing them lengthens our days. Never remove your love from us. Praise to you, Adonai, who loves your people Israel. Baruch atah Adonai, Ohev Amo Yisrael. We continue on page 34. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto Leolam Va'ed. Please be seated. We continue together on page 36. Ve'avta et Adonai Elohecha bechol levavcha uvechol nafshecha uvechol meodecha vehayu hadvarim ha'ele asher anochi metzavecha hayom alevavecha veshinantam levanecha v'dibarta bam Beshivtecha beveitecha, uvlachtecha vaderech, uvshokbecha uvkumecha, uvshartam leot al yadecha, vehayu letotafot bein einecha, uchtavtam al mezuzot beitecha, uvisharecha. Leman tizkeru va'asitem et kol mitzvotai v'item kedoshim le'elokechem. Ani Adonai Elokechem asher hotzeitiechem me'eretz Mitzrayim liot lachem le'elohim. Ani Adonai Elokechem. Amen.
On the top of page 39, we read responsively. Standing on the parted shores of history, we still believe what we were taught before ever we stood at Sinai's foot.
that wherever we go, it is eternally Egypt, that there is a better place, a promised land, that the winding way to that promise passes through the wilderness.
That there is no way to get from here to there except by joining hands, marching together. On the bottom of page 43, we read together. Give us a place to rest, Adonai our God. Bring us into shelter in the soft, long evening shadows of your truth. For with you are true protection and safety, and in your presence are acceptance and gentle love. Watch over us as we go forth. Prepare for us as we return. Spread over us your shelter of peace, over all we love, over our Jerusalem and yours. Baruch atah Adonai, hapurei sukat shalom aleinu, ve'al kol amo Yisrael ve'al Yerushalayim. Page 44, V'shamru. On page 46, we rise for the Amidah.
הגיבור והנורא, עליון, גומל חסדים טובים, וקונה הכל, וזוכר חסדי אבות ואמהות, ומביא גאולה לבני בניהם, למען שמו לאהבה. מלך עוזר ומושיע ומגן, ברוך אתה אדוני, מגן אברהם בעזרת שרה. אתה גיבור לעולם אדוני, מחיה הכל אתה רב להושיע, משיב הרוח ומוריד הגשם, מחכה חיים בחסד, מחיה הכל ברחמים רבים, סומך נופלים ורופא חולים, ומותיר אסורים, ומקיים אמונתו לשני עפר, מי כמוך בעל גבורות, ומי דומה לך, מלך מליט ומחיה, ומצמיח ישועה, ונאמן אתה להחיות הכל, ברוך אתה אדוני, מחיה הכל. אתה קדוש ושמך קדוש, וקדושים בכל יום יהללוך סלה. ברוך אתה אדוני, האל הקדוש.
You may be seated. On the top of page 55. May these hours of rest and renewal open our hearts to joy and our minds to truth. May all who struggle find rest on this day. May all who suffer find solace. May all who hurt find healing on this day. May all who despair find purpose. May all who hunger find fulfillment on this day. And may this day fulfill its promise. Baruch atah Adonai, Mekadesh HaShabbat. On page 57, we read together on the bottom. You are with us in our prayer, our love, and our doubt, and our longing to feel your presence and do your will. You are the still clear voice within us. Therefore, O God, when doubt troubles us, when anxiety makes us tremble, when pain clouds the mind, we look inward for the answer to our prayers. There may we find you, and there find courage, insight, and endurance. And let our worship bring us closer to one another, that all Israel and all who seek you may find new strength for your service. Baruch atah Adonai, she'otecha levarecha b'yirah na'avod. On the bottom of page 59. When we behold your heavens and the work of your fingers, the moon and stars that you set in place, what are we humans that you are mindful of us? We mortals that you take note of us. You made us little less than divine, adorned us with glory and majesty. You gave us dominion over your handiwork, laying the world at our feet. How majestic is your name throughout the earth. Baruch atah Adonai, hatov shincha ulecha na'eh lehodot. And on page 61, we share together in Birkat Shalom, our prayer for peace. Grant us peace, your most precious gift, O eternal source of peace, and give us the will to proclaim its message to all the peoples of the earth. Bless our country as a safeguard of peace, its advocate among the nations. May contentment reign within our borders, health and happiness within our homes. Strengthen the bonds of friendship and fellowship among all the inhabitants of every land. Plant virtue in every soul, and may the love of your name hallow every home and every heart. Praised are you, Eternal One, who blesses our people with peace. Baruch atah Adonai, hamivarech et amo Yisrael, Bashalom. We take a few moments now for our own personal thoughts and prayers for peace. Seder Kriyat Torah service for the reading of Torah, page 245. 244? 4. Sorry. Oh. $244.
In kamocha Elohim Adonai, ve'en k'ma'asecha, malchutcha malchut kol olamim, v'olem shaltecha b'chol dor v'dor. Adonai melech, Adonai malach, Adonai Eloh ve'olam poel, Adonai os le'amo yitin, Adonai yivarech et amo v'shalom.
On the bottom of page 246, we read responsibly. In this scroll is the secret of our people's life from Sinai until now.
Its teaching is love and justice, goodness and hope. Freedom is its gift to all who treasure it. Baruch Shenatan Torah, Torah. Baruch Shenatan Torah, Torah. Le'amo Yisrael b'kedushato. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai
Amongst ourselves, rabbis often talk about the fact that we each have 3, maybe 4 sermons within us, and that we give these sermons in different forms over and over again. That's not to say we recycle old material exactly, though what is using Torah and Talmud and other commentaries, if not that, but rather that the themes that are important to us, that make up our spiritual core, or the ideas that we find ourselves struggling with the most are the ones that we come back to again and again. For me, the idea of creation is one of those themes. Not exactly whether God did in fact create the world in 7 days, or the question of how to integrate theology and science, but how do we acknowledge and appreciate the ongoing process of creation? The big flashy things like the cycles of the seasons, the grandeur of nature, the wonder of creativity that can be seen in the arts and miraculous innovations in science. But also the small daily miracles that get overlooked unless we slow down and take notice. Those are the harder ones to appreciate, but of course, the ones we are privileged to encounter numerous times every day. I am conscious of the tension in my life between wanting to do and be involved as many things as possible, going after those big moments, and recognizing how important it is to slow down, take it all in, and savor each moment as it happens. I want to create opportunities for special experiences, like trips and birthday dinners and visits to museums, but also to take my time with that first cup of morning coffee, or a quiet walk with my dog, to listen to music and read a book. I love when I stop and notice that special smell of rain on hot pavement. You know what I'm talking about? Or when I take time to just be silly and laugh with my kids. Rabbi Abraham Joshua Heschel taught that the key to experiencing a sense of awe and wonder when we encounter the world is to recognize the most ordinary things in the world are actually incredible. He called this experience radical amazement. He wrote, "Radical amazement has a wider scope than any other act of man. While any act of perception has as its object a selected segment of reality, radical amazement refers to all of reality, not only to what we see, but also to the very act of seeing. It refers to the selves that see and are amazed at their ability to see." For Heschel, implicit in this process is that nothing is to be taken for granted. No piece of creation is passed over. Indifference to the sublime wonder of living is the root of sin. I heard a story on NPR the other day about a gene editing experiment using CRISPR technology that allowed patients with extreme vision loss to see color again. 7 patients with a rare eye disease volunteered to let doctors modify their DNA by injecting the revolutionary gene editing tool CRISPR directly into the cells that are still in their bodies. This is the first time researchers worked with CRISPR in this way. Earlier experiments had removed cells from patients' bodies, edited them in the lab, and then infused the modified cells back into the patients. For people who had little, if any, sight, the experiment allowed them to better discern shapes and figures, and also to see color. One of the recipients, Carlene Knight, remarked, "I've always loved colors. Since I was a kid, it was one of the things I could enjoy with just a small amount of vision. But now I realize how much brighter they were as a kid because I can see them a lot more brilliantly now," she says. "It's just amazing." So Knight, who's 55 and lives outside Portland, Oregon, dyed her hair her favorite color, green, to celebrate. "It's kind of fun to see," she said, laughing. Talk about radical amazement. After listening to that story, I was hyper aware of the clear blue early evening sky and the red of the temple dome as I pulled into the parking lot. I thought about how blessed I am to have eyesight that is pretty easily corrected with contact lenses, and gave thanks not only for the scientists who created CRISPR, but for all the people working to use that technology to cure all kinds of diseases like sickle cell and cancer. At the end of chapter 1 in Genesis, God creates human beings, saying, Vayomer Elohim na'aseh Adam b'tzalmenu kidmutenu v'yirdu v'gad hayam uva'of hashamayim uva'mehema uva'chol ha'aretz uva'chol haremes haromes al ha'aretz. Let us make man in our image after our likeness. They shall rule the fish of the sea, the birds of the sky, the cattle, the whole earth, and all the creeping things that creep on earth. We as humans have a unique place in the story of creation. In our parashah, God decides that we will be endowed with sacred sparks of intelligence, curiosity, and creativity. And for the most part, just as God commanded, then we still control the world around us, sometimes with disastrous results, but more often with amazing ones. I've always been drawn to Heschel's concept of radical amazement. It reminds me that we not only have a role in protecting God's creation, but that we can experience awe and wonder no matter where we are or who we are with, whether we have a busy day or a slow day, whether we have many privileges or just a few. Hold on. There we go. When we read the story of creation each year, I like to think about all the amazing moments of creation I have observed, I have nurtured, and I've experienced. And I commit once again to slowing down, taking time to notice the daily miracles that surround me, and creating opportunities to go out of my way to encounter some big ones too. I hope that you will also think about the countless moments of creation going on around you. And like Rabbi Heschel suggests, opening our hearts and minds to the radical amazement just of being alive. Amen. And so now Cantor Berlin is going to chant the section I quoted, plus a few verses before that from the first chapter of the book of Genesis, and it's my pleasure to call up Mia, our bat mitzvah, to offer the blessings before and after the reading of Torah.
Baruch hu et Adonai hamvorach.
Baruch Adonai Hamarach Le'olam Vaed.
Baruch Adonai hamivorach leolam vaed. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher bachar banu mikol ha'amim v'natan lanu et Torato. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen. Vayomer Elohim totzeh haaretz nefesh chaya lemina behema. Sorry, the words are not there. Behema varemes b'chayta eretz lemina vayichein. Vayas Elohim et chayat haaretz lemina ואת הבהמה למינה, ואת כל רמס האדמה למיניהו. וירא אלוהים כי טוב, ויאמר אלוהים נעשה אדם בצלמנו כדמותנו, וירדו בדגת הים ובעוף השמיים, ובבהמה וכל הארץ, וכל הרמס הרמס על הארץ. ויברא אלוהים את האדם בצלמו, בצלם אלוהים ברא אותו, זכר ונקבה ברא אותם. God then said, Let the earth bring forth living creatures of every type, domestic animals and creeping things and wild animals, each true to its type. And so it was. Thus God made the wild animals, each true to its type, and the domestic animals, each true to its type, and every creature that creeps on the ground, each true to its type. And God saw how good it was. God now said, "Let us make human beings in our image, after our likeness, and let them hold sway over the fish of the sea and the birds of the sky, over the beasts, over all the earth, over all that creeps upon the earth." So God created the human beings in the divine image, creating them in the image of God, creating them male and female.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher natan lanu Torat emet v'chayei olam nata betochenu. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen.
Oh, that's one more reason to do that. Okay. In the presence of Torah, we offer prayers of healing for those who face the future not fully whole. If there's someone in your life, someone who you have on your mind, you hold in your heart, who needs prayers of healing, whether it is a body or mind or spirit, take a moment to picture them now. Close your eyes if you wish. Whisper their names out loud. And so we sing together our prayer for healing, Mishabera. Amen. We turn to page 252 as we rise in honor of the Torah.
Torah, Shesam Moshe, Lifnei
continue with the concluding portion of our service. Aleinu is on page 283.
Aleinu shabeach l'adon hakol, latet gedilah liotzer bereshit, shehu sam b'chalkeinu liachid et shemo, v'kor aleinu l'hamlich malchuto, v'anachnu korim u'mishtachavim u'modim lifnei melech malchei hamlachim hakadosh baruch hu. V'ne'emar v'haya Adonai l'melech al kol haaretz bayom hahu yeh Adonai echad. U'shemo echad.
You may be seated. As we prepare to share in the mourner's Kaddish, we turn to page 291 as I share with you meditation number 6 by Rabbi Richard Levy. It is hard to sing of oneness when the world is not complete, when those who once brought wholeness to our life have gone, and naught but memory can fill the emptiness their passing leaves behind. But memory can tell us only what we were in the company with those we loved. It cannot help us find what each of us alone must now become. Yet no one is really alone. Those who live no more echo still within our thoughts and words, and what they did is part of what we have become. We do best homage to our dead when we live our lives more fully, even in the shadow of our loss. For each of our lives is worth the life of the whole world, and each one is the breath of the ultimate one. And affirming the one, we affirm the worth of each one, whose life now ended, brought us closer to the source of life, in whose unity no one is alone, and every life finds purpose. On this Shabbat, we consecrate the yard sites observed in our congregation this week of Magdalena Acevo de Placeres, Jorge Placeres Acevo, David Beret, Nathan Blum, Jonathan Klutz, Charles Davis, Betty Delavan, Dr. Daniel Eduardo DeMittman, Henry Donzis, Kenneth Downing, William M. Finkelstein, Milton A. Frost, Carol Poland Garrison, Charlotte Goldberg, Major Jack Morris Gore, Brigitte Grosel, Rosetta Guggenheim, David Hoff, Stephen Brian Holland, Herman Horowitz, Lloyd Clifton Jones, Kathy Kelfer, Mary Frank Layden, Julian Lauderstein, Betty Levine, David E. Levine, Milton Levinson, Barbara Diane Levy, Ethel S. May, Isidore Mazer, Helene Nagel, Lucille Newhouse, Clara Norris, Marjorie Schuster Block Owens, Larry Pearlstone, Irving F. Reichert Jr., Dorothy Reamer, Martin Rosenstein, Delia Salomon, Bertie Charlock Schwartz, Mildred Simon, Leslie Sokol, Wolf Solomon, Harry Stern, Charles Stockstill, Thomas W. Stewart, Florence Temkin, Sidney Wiederman, Frank Williams, and Carl E. Wolf. To their memories, we link the names of those who in the last 30 days, Shloshim, have been laid to their eternal rest: Robert Wright, Perry King, Bernice Porter, Ruth Friedberg, Melvin O. Levine, Marilyn Golden, and Doris Freed. And to their names, we link the memories of two who died this past week, their families observing a period of Shiva: Frida Fisher, and Dr. Neil Ross Gerwitz, husband of Betty, father of Anita and Leslie Feigenbaum, Karen and David Kahan, and Elliot and Emily Gerwitz, grandfather of Sarah and Ryan, Philip and Stephen, Ethan and Zoe, uncle, cousin, and friend to many. Zichronam livracha, may their memories be a blessing, along with the memories of those who we hold in our hearts each and every day. Our griefs and sympathies are mingled as we turn to page 294, rising as one congregation to share in the words of the Mourner's Kaddish together. Yitkadal v'yitkadash shemei Rabbah, v'alma divrach yirutei v'yamlich malchutei, b'chayachon u'v'yomechon u'v'chayei d'chol beit Yisrael, ba'agala u'v'yizman kariv v'yimru amen. Yehei shmei Rabbah mevarach le'olam omei omaya, yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitramam v'yitnaseh, v'yitadar v'yitaleh v'yitalal shemei d'kudashah b'richu, le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata, tushbechata v'nechamata, da'amiram be'alma v'yimru amen. Yehei shlama Rabbah min shemaya, v'chayim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael, v'yimru amen. Oseh shalom b'mromav, hu ya'aseh shalom, aleinu v'al kol Yisrael, v'yimru amen. May the one who creates harmony on high bring peace to us, to all Israel, to all the world, to which we say, amen. You may be seated. It's my pleasure to invite up our congregation's president, Dr. Amy Benedict, to share greetings and some announcements.
Good evening. I'm so glad all of you can be here in person and online. I want to wish a hearty mazel tov to Mia Jaroszewski and her parents, Jen and Russell Jaroszewski, and grandparents, Karen and Jarvis Jaroszewski, and to Jean and David Rossau on Mia's bat mitzvah. We hope you can join us tomorrow at 10:30 for her morning service when the bat mitzvah celebration will continue. I want to thank Mia and Jen Jaroszewski for blessing the candles, and I want to thank our choir for their lovely voices this evening. Many things are happening at Temple. I'll tell you about some of them. On October 6th, you can join the Temple's advocacy team on a webinar regarding the Texas special session and the RAC Texas update. On October 10th, we're going to join the Jewish community in collecting clothes for those who are resettled here from Afghanistan. On October 13th, we're going to do a voter deputy registrar training if you're interested in being deputized as a voter registrar. On October 14th, we're going to start our Courageous Conversations discussions regarding the book Cast, The Origins of Our Discontents, and that's going to be led by Rabbi Nathan and Pastor Kemp from the Antioch Missionary Baptist Church. And I have started the book. It's really quite thought-provoking, and I highly recommend it. All of this information and more can be found in your weekly emails from Temple Beth-El. Shabbat Shalom. I hope you all have a wonderful week.
Our closing song is Hallelujah on page 339. Please rise.
Hallelujah, hallelujah, hallelujah. Hallelujah, hallelujah, hallelujah. Hallelujah, hallelujah, hallelujah. Hallelujah, hallelujah, hallelujah. Kol Shama, say hallelujah. Hallelujah, hallelujah. Kol Shama, say hallelujah.
Shabbat Shalom.